You know, for the first time in over 50 years, humanity is looking back at the moon. Not just looking, but planning to go. But this isn't just a rerun of Apollo. This is something new. This is Artemis, a whole new generation's mission to the moon, and really our first real step towards becoming a multiplanetary species.
And you've got to remember, this whole thing is built on the shoulders of giants. I love this quote from Artemis II astronaut Victor Glover. He says, "Spaceflight is like a relay race where the baton gets passed from one generation to the next. And right now, the Artemis generation has that baton."
So this brings us to the big question, right? After 50 whole years, we've been focused on low Earth orbit with the space shuttle, the International Space Station. So why the moon? And why now?
To really understand where we're going, we have to look back. The Artemis program wouldn't exist without its legendary predecessor. So let's dive into the echoes of Apollo and see how this new chapter really stacks up.
Okay, so check this out. This comparison is just fascinating. On the left, you've got the legend, the Saturn V. And on the right, the new kid on the block, the Space Launch System, or SLS. Now, you might notice it's a little shorter, but don't let that fool you. The SLS packs 15% more liftoff thrust. It is, and this is no exaggeration, the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built, period.
And this timeline, wow, it really puts that half-century gap into perspective. After Apollo 17 landed in 1972, we just stopped going. We stayed close to home, building the ISS, flying the shuttle. It wasn't until 2017 that the Artemis program officially got the green light, which led to that awesome uncrewed test flight, Artemis I, in 2022. That's a 50-year pause in sending humans into deep space.
So we know the hardware is way more powerful, but what about the mission itself and the people making it happen? Well, this is where we meet the Artemis generation. They are kicking off a completely new era of exploration.
Now, something this ambitious, it's going to have a serious price tag. We're talking an estimated $93 billion just for the period through 2025. This isn't just some side project for NASA. This is a massive national and really global investment.
And here they are, the people who will be carrying that baton on the first crewed flight, Artemis II. And just look at this crew. They're making history before their rocket even leaves the ground. You've got Commander Reid Wiseman. Victor Glover will be the first person of color to fly to the moon. Christina Koch, the first woman. And, in a sign of this new era of global teamwork, Jeremy Hansen will be the first Canadian to make that incredible journey.
But here's the real game changer. With this crew, with this new technology, the goal isn't just to visit. The biggest difference between Apollo and Artemis is the mission to stay. This is all about building a real, sustainable future on and around the moon.
And a critical piece of that future is this, the Lunar Gateway. The easiest way to think about it is like a small space station, but it's orbiting the moon, not the Earth. It's going to be a command post, a science lab, and basically a truck stop in deep space, a staging point for missions heading down to the lunar surface, and eventually for missions going even farther.
So how does this all work? Let's walk through what a future landing mission will look like. First, the crew launches from Earth in the Orion capsule on top of that giant SLS rocket. Then, they travel all the way to the moon and dock with the Gateway. From there, 2 astronauts get into a separate landing vehicle and head down to the surface. After they do their work, they come back up to the Gateway and hop back into Orion for the ride home. It's this incredible multi-step dance in deep space.
And all of this infrastructure, all these moving parts, they support a much, much bigger vision, the Artemis Base Camp, a permanent human outpost on the moon. This is where we'll do amazing science, test out the technologies we need for Mars, and, get this, learn how to use lunar resources like water ice to make our own rocket fuel and breathable air. It's a dress rehearsal for becoming a multiplanetary species.
So you've got a new rocket, a new generation of explorers, a new permanent base, which all leads to one final question. What is this all for? What's the end game? Well, that brings us to the ultimate purpose of Artemis, the next giant leap.
Because when you really boil it all down, this return to the moon, it's not just about planting a flag and leaving a few footprints in the dust. It's about something way more profound. It's about learning for the first time in our history how to actually live on another world.
And we're doing it all to prepare for our next and maybe our greatest adventure, Mars.
You know, the Apollo program completely changed how we saw our own planet. The Artemis program, it promises to change how we see our place in the entire universe. It really just leaves us with this one incredible question to think about. What will humanity become when the sky is no longer the limit?